DOGE was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I felt would be incriminating. No one was talking. We heard they started taking transcripts automatically of all of our Google Meets. They unplugged the news in the little kitchen galleys. It didn't feel good.
All right. Well, you've heard the sob stories, and they are quite entertaining at times. But the media, they continue to spread this story that DOGE is some dark, mysterious organization, embedding itself in departments like some jackbooted thugs, just intimidating staff, threatening those who don't comply. Okay. We're asking, what is the truth? Well, tonight we sit down exclusively with one of the men responsible for turning Elon Musk's DOGE plans into reality. Joining me now is Sam Corcos, who's a special advisor within the U.S. Treasury Department. He's also CEO and co-founder of Levels, which is a really cool health and wellness software company. Also joining me, he's getting second billing tonight, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. We'll get back to you, Mr. Secretary, in a moment. But Sam, let's start with you. No one knows much about all of you guys who are working together, and I know you work at Treasury now. Tell us what brought you here into Washington and what your top priority is.
Yeah, I've been brought in to look at the IRS's modernization program in particular, as well as the operations and maintenance budget. I really care a lot about this country, and this is a huge program that's currently 30 years behind schedule, and it's already $15 billion over budget.
Wait a second. Explain to our viewers what the program is in layman's terms.
Yeah, so the goal is to take, the IRS has some pretty legacy infrastructure. It's actually very similar to what banks have been using. It's old mainframes running COBOL and assembly. And the challenge has been, how do we migrate that to a modern system? Virtually every bank has already done this, but we're still using a lot of those same systems. And typically in industry, this takes a few years, maybe a few $100 million. And we're now 35 years into this program. We've actually been, if you ask them now, it's 5 years away. And it's been 5 years away since 1990. It's supposed to be delivered in 1996, and it's still 5 years away.
In your area of expertise that informs your ability to do this review is what?
I'm a software developer by background, and I'm a CEO of a software technology company.
So when you came into the department, the first thing you do is just get into the guts of the system and see how it operates?
Yeah, really talk to the software developers. Talk to the people on the ground and what they're seeing. I think one encouraging thing is we actually have quite a lot of software talent on the ground, the people writing code. We actually have quite a lot of good people. It is almost always the case that when I ask them what the correct answer is, how do we solve these problems, they're almost always right, which is good. They just haven't been in a position to be empowered to make those decisions. So I'm actually pretty optimistic that we can solve this.
Secretary Bessent, why has this taken so long? I mean, Sam seems obviously very, very successful, extremely intelligent. But I assume we have other Sams in the United States. We could have had a Sam 15 years ago come in and fix this. What is going on?
Well, Laura, you've been in D.C. a long time. I've been here 8 weeks. But one of the biggest surprises for me is just seeing how these entrenched interests just keep constricting themselves around the power, around the money, around the systems, and nobody cares. I mean, I said to Sam today, I said, the IRS system was supposed to be delivered in 1996, and he said, no, but it was started in 1990. So that's how far behind they are, and nobody cares. And the other thing we're seeing too is, as Sam said, some of the employees, many of the employees are fantastic. It's this consultant group who has they're like a boa constrictor, they're like a python. They've got themselves
no pun intended.
Yeah.
Python language.
Yeah.
All you coders have to.
It was intended. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Smarty pants. Thanks.
But they've constricted themselves around our government, and the costs are unbelievable that are being passed on to the American taxpayer.
Okay. So Sam, again, you come in from this tech company. You've been in directing engineering teams. You've been doing your own coding and software engineering for so many years. But you come in here and you see this is one of the most important departments in the world, not just in our government, in the world. And you see how this has been organized and run for so many years. What, as a human being, forget what is your reaction to that?
It's
were you stunned as I am just hearing about this?
Yeah, it's hard to really grasp the scale of this because we process at the IRS about the same amount of data as a mid-sized bank. And a typical mid-sized bank will have somewhere between 1 and 200 people in IT, and they'll have an operations and maintenance budget in like the $20 million a year range. We have 8,000 people in IT, and our operations and maintenance budget is $3.5 billion a year. I don't really know why yet, but I will tell you that 80% of that budget goes to contractors and licenses.
So the contractors and putting these projects out to bid, Mr. Secretary, how big a problem has that been?
Well, clearly it's a problem, and that's why when you and I were talking the other night, that's why I wanted to bring Sam in, because I just gotten a briefing from him, and my jaw hit the ground when he was talking about the cost, the timeline. As you know, we talked about it before, I have 3 priorities with the IRS: collections, privacy, customer service, and none of those are being well served. Look at the scale of this.
And Sam, for Americans watching this tonight who've heard all these stories about the people brought in to dismantle the government and rip it apart and destroy people's lives, you didn't have to do this. You have a lot of priorities in the business world, but again, like Musk and like people even younger than you who came in, they got the world on a string. So what do you say to those people who are hearing all these frightening stories about what you and the DOGE bros, as they're called, are doing?
Yeah, this was definitely not on my bingo card for this year. I was very much planning to continue to focus on my company. We have a 15-month-old boy. It's been really fun, but I got a lot of friends of mine in administration telling me how serious the situation is, and so I'm taking some time to really focus on this. I think it is a huge part of our government is collecting taxes. We cannot perform the basic functions of tax collection without paying a toll to all these contractors. We really have to figure out how to get out of this hole. We're in a really deep hole right now.
IRS employees, according to CNN, claim that you were basically ignorant about how the agency works. I guess you were supposed to know everything before you got there, but that's what they're saying. Your response to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know that I'm learning now. I think I know a lot about software systems. That's why I was brought in. So that's the main focus: is how do we turn this around? We have a $3.5 billion operations and maintenance budget. We have a $3.7 billion modernization effort within IT. That's a lot of budget, and we are way beyond any reasonable cost for what you would expect at a private company for this.
What has been the biggest surprise? You, again, Secretary Bessent's, been in the business world as well, but he heard it from me. But when you first saw this, what was the biggest surprise that you found at that Department of Treasury?
I would say it's the disconnect between leadership and the people actually doing the work is a big one. I would say that it doesn't take a lot, just somebody who cares to solve these problems. You find contracts that are 10, 20, 30, $50 million, and you just ask, like, why are we doing this? And everyone's just like, I don't know. And then you cancel it, and then nothing happens. It's just inertia has just taken over.
What? I mean, okay. I'm so frustrated in hearing this, but I'm so glad you're getting your hands dirty by getting in there. Mr. Secretary, Sam comes from the outside world. He's very keen. I'm reading his bio and what he's done on time management. That's how he's been so successful, managing 15-minute increments of his time, analyzing it. So he's data-driven. This should be a data-driven agency. You're a money guy. You've made billions of dollars in the business world because you're data-driven. So why is this controversial to make the IRS data-driven?
Well, because it's... Like I told Elon, I said, Elon, you're under fire because you've moved people's cheese. And he said, well, it's the American people's cheese, and it doesn't belong to these people. And again, that's why I wanted the American people to meet Sam. We're going to bring some more DOGE people forward to actually hear their stories, see what's being done, because the entrenched interests, the consultants, the Democrats, mainstream media, they just want to blow this project out of the water. And it's important because I keep saying this is the opposite of government efficiency, not elimination, not extinction. Sam and his crew are making it more efficient to work for the American people. So what's wrong with it working better, cheaper, faster, and with more privacy?
The president essentially said he wants efficiency across the federal government. He brought in Elon to do that. You're a big part of this. Is it possible, given what you've seen as far as the resistance, both in the courts and among mostly Democrats?
Honestly, I haven't really had much of an issue. The career staff has been super cooperative. I think we've so far stopped work and cut about $1.5 billion from the modernization budget, mostly projects that were going to continue to put us down this death spiral of complexity in our code base. I think most people that I've interacted with are really excited that somebody actually cares now. They've been in a situation where their hands are tied and they can't solve the things that they know need to be solved. My experience has honestly been very positive working with them.
I mean, this is back to the messaging point, and again, going back to his history in business, communication is key, from staff to leadership to staff, and also here, the consumer is the American people, the taxpayer. Those are the ultimate consumers here. It's very important that you had this idea to bring Sam in, but people need to understand what this is.
Yeah, but look, it's all hands on deck, because we got this the government debt. We're going to pay that down, but we're also going to make government work better. Again, if you were to ask Sam about the customer support, it's unbelievable. The system, the customer support, they have the same number of people working on Christmas Eve as they do on April 14th at the IRS. Why?
So efficiency across the board must be implemented. It's unfair to the taxpayer who foots the bill for all of us. Unfair.
Well, I don't.
And a ripoff.
Yeah, and look, we want people to like the government. We want the government.
No one's going to like the IRS. Sorry.
We want people to feel satisfied that they are getting the service they deserve, that they're paying their fair share and not more, not less, and that it's done quickly, smartly, and privately.
Sam, how long are you going to stay in Washington?
I'm committed to 6 months.
Okay. All right. Sam and Mr. Secretary, thank you both for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Sam, keep working.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.